I'm now looking in the script for things that I need to parameterize. Now you'll notice this is a SharePoint script, so in fact it's applicable to run the .NET model. I haven't already done that, so I'm going to do that now. We're going to choose the .NET and SharePoint model, and what we're going to see is these parameters here, the event target, event argument, and request digest, are going to be parameterized. Likewise with view state, where we will see a similar parameter for view state, which does get longer and longer. This one's not so long, these can be pages and pages. This will save you a lot of work. So the first thing we're going to do is apply the .NET model. So depending on the complexity and length of your script and the complexity of the model, then that green bar will take shorter or longer. Now if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see that Qtest has already put in the parameters for extracting the item. It knows which response to pull it out from, and therefore which request to tag the line onto. And we see that also throughout the script. And then you can see our event target, event argument, request digest, etc., and view state have all now been parameterized. That's great. That means that we don't need to do that. Thing is, though, this particular application has got some parameters that aren't really standard. If we scroll down a little bit, we'll be able to see these, and this is really a case of coming down to experience. This is why this is an advanced video, and it's really for people that understand how these applications communicate, how the client and the server communicate. So if we keep scrolling down, let's see something that is not parameterized that looks like it should be parameterized. Perhaps let's keep going down. Session UID. This is a good one to check for. So if we highlight this, what I do is right click and choose Find and Replace in HTTP Responses and click on OK. What that does down here is shows me every single response where this session UID came back. If I double click here, I can see that it came back here in this line, and that is part of this response, and this is the request that gave me that response. So all I need to do is right click and choose extract value, and I shall call this session UID, I think it was, wasn't it? So and I'm going to check that that's okay with the preview button. It's not. I need to make this a little bit more unique. You see what I'm doing is searching on a left and right set of parameters. So LUE equals \quote, so that looks like that would have been value equals, and then of course \quote equates to a quote, and then we've got this the right delimiter, which is quote and then cell. So let's see if we can make this a little bit more unique, or see if there's another place in the same response where we can extract this from. So you can see the first response is ID 89. There's no point in looking in 104 because that's too late at that point. We need to use the first response, and that first response, importantly, must come after the request that generated that response. So we can see this is identifier 88 and the response is in 89, so we know that actually this is fine. At least this is one value higher, and in fact the closer this number is to this number, then the better, really. So let's see where else it appears in that same page. We've got session UID equals, session UID tag, and then this these curly brackets here. Is there any other way to extract it? We also have a session UID here. This looks perfect, really. So let's try and extract it here and choose extract value, and this has now been updated accordingly. And what I'm going to do is just make this more unique by just filling in the full details here. Session UID, and then actually that's a lowercase s, as I remember, and then the closing tag, which is session UID, and then the chevron there. So I've got my opening tag and closing tag, which make up my left and right parameters. Let's click on the preview, and there's my session ID. That looks great. So I'm now going to make that my variable. So if we scroll down a little bit, we will see that session UID is now being extracted, and I actually want to now find where in the script was it that I was working in the first place. I think if we scroll down, in fact, the best way to do this, because it was the first one, is just to go to the top of the script and then search for session UID. There we go, session UID. Let's just check that the values are the same. AE67E, AE67E, 3942. Okay, that's looking good. The thing is, what you'll notice is it's pulling out these curly brackets. So in fact, this value is not good for us because it's not the correct value. So let's just go back to here, to my extract. Let's hide this. So in fact, it's probably not the first instance, it's probably the second instance. So let's go back into our parser here, and if we check our magnifying glass, you see it's got the curly brackets on there. Let's say occurrence 2. There we go, that's the one that we want. So I'm going to click apply again, and you'll see what it's done. Session UID, it's now put 2 lines in, so we want to remove the one that's not referring to occurrence 2. So you can see here, here's the occurrence. So let's just pull this one out. So now we're extracting the session UID, and let's go back to our session UID, actually the hard-coded value. There it is, and we want to change this to be this dynamic value. So quite simply, all I'm going to do is just put in the variable here, and it was session UID. So now that's parameterized. Thing is though, well, let's just check that this will compile, and that's all fine. Yes, it is. And we could play that back, but in fact there are some other things missing, like also the job UID, and we need to parameterize all of these for it to work correctly. And what's going to happen if we then have to re-record the script if the application changes? It's potentially a huge amount of work. So what I recommend you do now is, rather than parameterize this script, is build a model. And that is the video on automatic parameterization. So in fact, what we're doing when we're building a model is teaching